Hello everyone. In today's Carnivores profile, what we're doing is not one but two exotic sectors, Ceratopsians. And so, we'll start with the tropical species. Now, where other larger Ceratopsians in the central sector, like the massive Triceratops, Alcathomus, Casmosaurus, Torosaurus, and Titanoceratops, and many more rule their respective chains in the central sector. But there is a ceratopsian that inhabits the tropical area. Protoceratops, the tiny ceratopsian, cowers in the shadows of the exotic sector in FMM UV32. Although lacking in horns and size, these little animals has nothing to defend itself with. As such, it scampers through the undergrowth in its tropical home, constantly looking out about for intruders, much like the Orodromius. However, unlike the more solitary Orodromius, Protoceratops can be often found together in small groups, constantly looking over each other's shoulders. Because the Protoceratops is basically defenseless aside from its rather intimidating eyes. It has to run away if provoked, and because of it, is constantly moving about to avoid carnivores. And you would probably hear one of them breathing before you even see it. And seeing a Protoceratops is a very hard thing to do. These little animals blend in well with their green shrubbery and typically move from shrub to stay camouflage and to avoid larger predators like Nanotyrannus or the Velociraptor. And this one is much different from its Earth counterpart. The Earth Protoceratops was a relatively small ceratopsian, about the size of a sheep, with large head, a bony neck frill, and parrot-like beak. It lacked large horns of later ceratopsians, but had a small pointed beak and a small horn above the nostrils. Its neck frill, which would have been used for display or defense, was a prominent feature. For their size, the Earth Protoceratops is approximately 6 to 7 feet long, 3 to 4 feet tall at the hips, and they weigh up of 600 pounds. It had a large head relative to its body, with bony frills extending from the back of its skull. It possessed a sharp, parrot-like beak used for cropping vegetation and rows of small but powerful teeth for grinding. Further, it had strong limbs and a short tail. It had a small, short horn above the nostrils, and for their frill, mainly used for display and possibly defense. And there's another thing that the exotic sector Proceratops doesn't even do like its Earth counterpart. The Earth Proceratops may have used its hind limbs to dig burrows or take shelter under bushes and or scraps to escape the hottest temperature of the day. A digging action with the hind limbs was likely factored by strong camphorales, strong muscles, and its large feet equipped with flat, shovel-like oogles, as this behavior would have been common in Proceratops. But for the exotic sector Proceratops, it appears that it doesn't have that, because they would rather spend most of their time on above ground rather than digging burrows, because unlike the Earth counterpart, exotic sector Proceratops environment is a tropical environment, jungles, and scrublands, while the Earth Proceratops usually environment that they lived in is Gobi Desert with semi-arid conditions. And possibly nocturnal activity. The large eyes of Proceratops suggest good night vision, leading some to speculate that they may have been nocturnal or active at dusk and dawn. There is no evidence if the two exotic sector Proceratops ever had that feature, or even had them at all. And it appears that the FMM Proceratops has no there's no means to defend itself. But the Earth Proceratops does have some defenses. Like I said before, with their sharp parrot-like beak, which is used to shear tough plants, but also as a weapon against predators. Because not a powerful bite like a Udanoceratops, but if a Proceratops bites a arm or leg of a predator, there will be serious injuries and herding behavior. Like other ceratopsians, Proceratops likely lived in herds, which may have offered increased protection against predators. The presence of numerous individuals would have made it more difficult for predators to single out and attack vulnerable individuals. A small horn-like structure on the snout may have been used for ramming predators. But the exotic sector Proceratops doesn't have a small horn on its nostrils, and it doesn't have a powerful bite to defend itself against predators. They're only likely to run and hide from predators rather than fight. And here's its more scrubland relative, Helencarinus, or a small ceratopsians native to the exotic sector of FMM UV32. This was much more different from its tropical counterpart, or its relative, because this one has a more anatomically accurate body shape. It does have a small horn on its snout, and with quills on its tail. It's not known if they dig burrows like the Earth counterparts do. Let's assume that they did that. and it can defend itself against either small to mid dinosaurs or hunters by ramming or biting at them. A small dinosaur native to the scrublands of the exotic sector, unlike the relatives in the central sector and its tropical relative, they are typically found solo. However, in situations of extreme danger, they will group together to protect each other from predators like Rheosuchus and Coelophysis nanotyrannus. And they have sexual dimorphism, with the males being brightly colored, while the females are dull color. And their ecological role as a grazer and a potential food source for predators. It likely lived in herds and nested in colonies, contributing to plant life. And it appears that one Proceratops is relative that lives in the central sector. That is, the central sector Proceratops, which lived in the pyramids of Shamu Hardon on the eastern tour. That's another video for that animal for another day. And that's it for this video of exotic sectors, Ceratopsians. Although there is no evidence if there are large Ceratopsians in the exotic sector that hasn't been found or discovered, we'll never know. Like and subscribe, and see you later, guys.